Hello, this is Jason, back with another walk and talk video, which is actually the second leg of my daily walk. I've decided to break these up into 2 videos per walk. And this one might even get, well, I should be able to get home. Right now it's 7:40 p.m. which is right at sunset. So it's probably going to get pretty dark walking through these woods. Might have to break out my headlamp. But today's topic of discussion is going to be my thoughts on all 50 states. So I've done a lot of traveling in my day. And I'll give you my history with all the different states. And I guess we'll start in the far northeast and just kind of go down the coast. We'll see if I forget any states. But we'll start with Maine. So Maine is one of the few states that I've not visited. And the things I know about it, it seems like a nice place. A lot of fishing, and I guess it's popular that people go there in the fall just to see all the leaves. So it'd be good to go there in, like, I don't know, a month or two, right when all the leaves are changing. And I hear it's very beautiful. I've seen pictures. It looks very beautiful. And I had my old manager told me stories times when he spent in Maine. He said, or it was kind of funny how people talk up there. So he said he went and asked the older guy for directions. It's like, how do you get to Bob's Biscuits, whatever the place is? He's like, nah, you can't get that from here. You got to go down there. Go down there and make a left. You can't get that from here. I thought that was a funny thing to say. You can't get that from here. You got to go down there. So there we go. There's the first state off the list. Next state would be what? New Hampshire? Either New Hampshire or Vermont. I'm not sure which one's on the right, which one's on the left in that little sandwich thing they got going on up there. But I have been, it must be Vermont on the left, I'm going to guess. Because I have been to Vermont skiing once. And I don't remember if we had to go through New Hampshire to get there. I have no memories of New Hampshire. So I don't have too many opinions on it. I know that's the live free or die. So they got the coolest state slogan out of all 50 states, I would say. I don't think it gets any more American or cooler than live free or die. And then Vermont got some cool skiing. I think they also got the leaves things going on, which I'm sure is true of all those. I mean, that's true all the way down through Pennsylvania, even in Ohio, but not as dense. You don't see the forests as dense as I guess there are in Maine and stuff up there in the Northeast. But Vermont also has my favorite senator, Bernie Sanders. Feel the burn. And that's all I got from that. There's 3 states. We got Delaware. I have been to Delaware. I remember there being a lot of chickens there, trucks with chickens going all over the place. And other than that, didn't seem like too much was going on there. Rhode Island, I might have drove through that like in 5 minutes on my way to somewhere else. It's so small that you'd blink and miss it. So only opinions of that is it's like really small. What else we got? Massachusetts. I've been to Boston. Boston was kind of cool. I ain't got a good Boston accent. How'd I do there? Horrible, I'm sure. But Boston was nice. I went to what was the gaming? Some gaming convention. PAX East. That's what I went to Boston for. I had a good time there. I got videos on my Wicked Shrapnel channel from PAX East. If you want to search that up over there, see my times in Boston. Met a bunch of YouTubers. Hung out with like Wildcat and who else? Oh my god, he's one of the biggest YouTubers. I'm drawing a blank. And I had him on Sub Sunday too, before he got big. He hangs out with Wildcat. Man, I'm losing brownie points for that. Oh well. Sure, he won't mind. But that's my memories of Massachusetts, which is better than my memory of that YouTuber's name. Man, this is like really low light. So if you're able to see me or see the road, when you see that bicycle go past with that light on it, probably look like the sun with all the brightness compensation I have to do to boost this up because it's pretty dark. But when I've looked in the past, it makes it look like it's the middle of the day because the low light capabilities of the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 are incredible. And no, I'm not sponsored, but I would love to be. Hashtag DJI. Come talk to me. I'm being a shill for DJI without even having a sponsorship. That's how much I like them. All right, so next state, Connecticut. I don't really have any experience in Connecticut. I know I've heard of a Ken Kniff from Connecticut. Let me know if you know who Ken Kniff is, if you get that joke. All right, no thoughts of that. I know like Massachusetts and Connecticut are both very like rich areas. Like the Hamptons. I'm pretty sure the Hamptons are in one of those places where the super rich people from New York City go. All right, so next state, New York. I've spent a lot of time in New York, actually, with most of it being in upstate in western New York. I was in New York on 9/11, not New York City.
22 minutes.
That's with my brick. I was actually in Jamestown, New York, which is the birthplace of Lucille Ball. I almost blanked on her name. I Love Lucy. It's from Jamestown, New York. I worked on a job there for years, probably 2 or 3 years. We'd work there all week, and then I'd drive to Ohio on the weekends, hang out with my friends that are in Ohio. And we also worked on a job upstate New York in a place called Nunda, Nunda, which is outside of Geneseo, New York, which is about an hour, hour and a half south of Rochester, New York. About 2 hours from Buffalo, Niagara Falls. That was just a little speck of a town, but did spend a couple of years there on and off too, which was much harder to do because there's absolutely nothing to do there. And that was kind of a little too far to drive all the way back to Ohio. Like Jamestown was only maybe 2 hours, but I think it was 3 or 4 hours from Nunda. So I don't think we went back home every weekend. It was just every other weekend or so. And then New York City, I've been in New York City probably 3 or 4 times. One time I went there, me and my friend Eric, we took our bicycles and rode our bicycles all over Manhattan. It was fun. It was exhilarating, dangerous. All the cars there want to kill you, honking at you, beeping. People opening up taxi doors right in front of you while you're whizzing down the street. It's pretty exciting. And what else? All right, so I guess we can keep going south. We'll pick up Pennsylvania. So most of my experience in Pennsylvania is Pittsburgh, because I lived only an hour, hour and a half from Pittsburgh, where I grew up in Youngstown, Warren area in Ohio. And my friend Eric went to the Pittsburgh Art Institute. That's where he went to school after high school. And I would go down there on weekends and hang out with him. We'd skateboard all over the city and get drunk when I was probably 16, 17 when he went to school there. So I'm pretty sure he's like a year and a half or 2 years older than me. So I just turned 26, so he might have turned 28. I don't know for sure. But he was old enough to, he had a roommate that was older than him. I was able to buy beer, and we'd buy Mickey's or Colt 45 or Mad Dog 2020. All this just high alcohol percentage, cheap. Wanted to get the stuff that was the cheapest, that would get you buzzed up the most with the least amount of money. And those were the go-to back in the day. Either Colt 45 malt liquor, or Mickey's, which I think is malt liquor, or Mad Dog 2020, which is just some crazy concoction. We used to pour the big bottles of Mad Dog 2020 in a beer bong, and beer bong a whole Mad Dog 2020. And those things were only I don't know, $5. You drink a whole bottle of Mad Dog, beer bonging it, all in one gulp. You're gonna be buzzed up, buddy. The things I did when I was a teenager. But you don't do that now. You should definitely wait till you're at least 30 years old. But no 30-year-old would drink those drinks, I don't think. All right, so that's Pittsburgh. I don't think I've really spent any time in Philadelphia. drove by it like on the way to New York City. Drive by Scranton. All right, so moving down the list. What else we got? West Virginia. Not too much experience there. Although there was this, I did go to Charleston once. Met some girl off AOL. And I actually went down there and she seemed pretty normal. When I went down there, I went down for like one night. And then I came back, and a couple of weeks later, I bought her a Greyhound bus ticket to come up. And she came up and stayed with me. I was still living with my mom, and I was trying to hide her from my mom because I figured she'd just stay in my room while we're sleeping, and then when I'd go out, you know, I'd come home late after my mom already went to sleep, and just didn't think my mom would notice. But I took her out with my friends over my friend's house the first night she came up, and she was okay. She was kind of awkward. She was kind of antisocial. And so then the second day, we're driving around, and I pull in my friend's house, and she's like, no, I don't want to go here again. So I'm like, well, I want to hang out here. You don't want to come? She's like, no. I'm like, well, I want to come here. She's like, starts freaking out and like banging her head on my window. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'll take you back to my house. So I took her back to my house, and I'm like, I'll be home later. I just took her back and left her there. And then my mom, I guess, heard someone in my room and went in, and she thought it was me, and she goes in, and there's a girl, and she's like, where's Jason? He's whatever. And like, I forget what she said to my mom. But like after that, after I like left her, she wanted to go home, and I just wanted to send her back home and get rid of her. And my mom felt sorry for her and like bought her all the snacks and stuff for the bus ride home. And I didn't even want to talk to her. She didn't want to talk to me. She was mad at me. So my mom bought her snacks and stuff and dropped her off at the bus stop in Youngstown. And I never talked to her again. So that's my story of West Virginia. All right, next one down, let's say Virginia. So Virginia, I did some work in Hillsville, Virginia. We put like video, pretty sure we did video systems, all the schools in Hillsville. And that place kind of sucked. It was a dry county, so they didn't sell alcohol. And there was like a neighboring county that did sell alcohol, so we'd have to drive all the way over there to buy alcohol and bring it back to our hotel room. And yeah, not too much good things to say about Virginia. I think there was some other place that we worked, though. That might have been Virginia. In the Navy port city, like Virginia Beach area. Norfolk, Virginia. That was actually pretty cool. I remember being there in the winter and getting, I have a lot of getting buzzed up stories in my memories. We got all buzzed up at some bar that was right on the beach. And this was like in December, January. And I stripped naked and jumped in the ocean. There was like no one on the beach because it was so cold that only idiots would be on the beach. Me and my friends went down there and I jumped in the ocean butt naked. It was very cold. Confirmed. All right. So that's Virginia. And we got Maryland. I did work in Maryland. They've got a bunch of, they're very proud of their blue crabs. I forget the name of the city I worked in Maryland. It's not coming to me, but it's right on the water. That was another school. And I remember going to eat crabs and to open it up, and there's like this yellow gunk in there, which is basically just the crap of the crab. And I'm like, what's that? And the waitress is like, oh, that's the mustard. And I'm like, oh, I'm not eating this. Even, like, it would have been better if she just said, that's all it's crap. That would have been more appetizing to me than saying that's the mustard. So I picked all the mustard out and I tried to eat it, but it's just eating a blue crab like that. I'm not into it at all. Don't like it. I'll eat crab legs, snow crab legs, king crab legs. I like the meat like that, but eating the guts of a crab, little crab like that, I'm not a fan. Oh man, it's getting really dark. Getting really dark. Let's see if I can reach my zipper, my bag. I can get my headlamp out without having to take my bag off. I think I'm losing face tracking. Oh, that's the wrong zipper. In 1 second. I don't think. Is it this one? Yep, I got it. Whew. 1 second. All right. There we go. All right. Now we got a little light for the road. All right. So what state was that? Maryland. So then the next state would be North Carolina. And that's where Charlotte is, right? Pretty sure. I have a friend that moved to Charlotte. I went out there to visit him. We went to a Panthers game. They were playing Green Bay, and my friends paid to have a Green Bay Packers logo painted on my left cheek with a Panthers logo on my right cheek, and painted my nose and added whiskers to my face. And then I wanted to buy a jersey, and the cheapest jersey there was a Muhammad jersey. So I'm like, I don't care what name's on it. I'm not a fan of anyone in particular. Why am I going to pay like twice the price just to have a different name on my jersey? People weren't buying the Muhammad ones, so I bought it. And my friend was making fun of me, kept calling me Muhammad. He's like, Muhammad, nice jersey, Muhammad. I don't know. That was my memory from Charlotte. And we went to a NASCAR race there. Was it the Winston Cup? That was pretty cool. Stupid thing, losing my face. There we go. So, yeah, I went to the Winston Cup. That's pretty crazy. You can go stand right down next to the fence. Safety precautions don't seem to be the best. And it just sounds like bees, swarm of bees, as the cars go by you at 185 miles an hour. you get like rubber blows in your face coming off the tires of the cars. It's a pretty wild experience. And a lot of drinking happens at NASCAR events. A lot of drinking happens in a lot of these stories I'm sharing. All right, so then what we got next? South Carolina. I think that's where Hilton Head is. We had a job there, but I was already moved out to Omaha, so I think I went there once, but I didn't spend too much time in Hilton Head, which I'm pretty sure that's in South Carolina. So don't have too many opinions on South Carolina. All right, next we got Georgia. The main thing there is flying Delta, going through Atlanta. And Scuff Gaming is headquartered in a little town right north of Atlanta. And they actually offered me a job. It's probably been 10 years ago. They wanted me to be their social media, social media manager. And they offered me, I think it was $110,000 to go run their social media. And that's before they got bought out by Corsair. So I probably would have got stock options and would have been bought out by Corsair and probably been a multimillionaire. Or I could have went and did it for a year and they hated it, or I said something stupid on their social media, which I've been known to do on my own social media, especially 10 years ago, that I could have got fired and then not had my job. And like, Merry Christmas! That's funny. What's today? September 17th. Merry Christmas. It's funny that they said that because my friend Jerry was just telling me today that he went to Costco and they have Christmas like decorations and products set out. He's like, it's September. They already got Christmas stuff out. I'm like, it's time to get in the Christmas spirit, Jerry. So that's pretty funny that he said that today, and then these people, random kids, say Merry Christmas. That's funny. Christmas comes earlier and earlier every year. There's a war on Christmas, you know. War on Christmas. All right, we're finally out of the woods, so hopefully my camera's still pointing in the right direction. All right, so where are we? Georgia. Let's move on down to Florida, the Sunshine State. I just went to vacation there last month. I've been to a lot of great places. My mom used to take us to Daytona Beach, Florida every year for like 10 years in a row. And we were finally like, can't we go somewhere else? Like, she got adventurous the first time and was able to make it to Daytona, Florida, and then didn't want to go anywhere else. Went to this one hotel, which was, at the time it was cool, I guess. The Grand Prix Hotel, Daytona Beach, Florida. I'm pretty sure it's still there. Grand Prix. It's right on the beach. And definitely had fun times there. It was just like, man, could we go somewhere else? We did go to Orlando. You know, we stayed in Daytona, but we'd drive to Orlando and go to Disney World, or went to Disney World one year, went to Epcot Center one year, went to Universal Studios one year. So we'd go do all those things. We even drove over to the golf side one year just for a day. They were not impressed with the golf. The golf was too calm. They liked the waves of the Atlantic Ocean. So kept going back and back to Daytona all through, probably from when I was 5 till 14. And then all these spots that I've went to in the past: Destin, Panama City Beach, and Pensacola. All those places are really nice. I like the beaches there better than Daytona. They have like super white sand beaches, and the waters are super clear. I think those beaches there beat Daytona beaches, in my opinion. All right, so moving over a little bit to Alabama. I've been to the NASA Space Center. That's where they have the NASA Space Campus in Huntsville, Alabama. I went and toured the whole Space Center. They got like Saturn V rockets out, and you could do all kinds of little different activities, and they sell the astronaut ice cream. It's like freeze-dried ice cream in the gift shop that I thought was really cool when I was 10 years old. And that's pretty much all my memories of, dang it, of Alabama. This thing keeps losing my face. And then we got Tennessee, which I spent 3 or 4 months. Well, I would go there since I was 4 or 5. I would go there every summer to visit my dad. And he lived in Crossville, Tennessee. And then my grandma and grandpa lived in Monterey, Tennessee. So, and I go spend probably like a month there every year with my dad. He bought me like a little dirt bike. I'd ride up and down my grandpa's gravel driveway, go ride out in the woods. Fun times. Then I went to college there for 3 or 4 months, 1 semester, Tennessee Technological University, and I was not a fan. Just having to drive back and forth to school an hour each way. It got really old real quick. I need another drink. All right, and then we got Kentucky. I haven't spent too much time in Kentucky. I know that the Cincinnati airport is in Kentucky, and which is kind of weird. Why would Cincinnati put their airport in Kentucky? And you know, I drive through it all the time, just going from Ohio to Tennessee. Stopped at Mammoth Caves one time. Me and my dad walked through Mammoth Caves, which are I think they're like the largest caves in the United States. They are mammoth. And that's all I gotta say. That's the state where my least favorite senator is from, Mitch McConnell. You don't hear too much about him. I think he's retiring soon. He's kind of on his way out of the Senate in more ways than one, too. And then we got Ohio, which I'm very familiar with. The state I was born in. Oh, pants are falling down. Water bottle in my butt. Dang it. Come on, water bottle. So, I'm from the Youngstown, Warren area of Ohio. I went to school up until 5th grade in Niles, Ohio, which is the birthplace of William McKinley. And then like 6th grade, I went to Mineral Ridge, Ohio. And then my mom and stepdad got divorced, and he ratted us out that I moved back to Niles, so I had to leave Mineral Ridge and go back to Niles for 7th and 8th grade. And then my mom moved back to Mineral Ridge for 9th grade, so then I went back to Mineral Ridge and did my whole high school in Mineral Ridge, which there is a smaller school, so you had smaller classrooms, and it was just generally thought to be a better school than Niles. Niles is a little rougher around the edges. So I guess most of my memories up until 18 years old are in Ohio. And it's okay. Ohio's not that bad. There's worse places to be from, I would suppose. Especially if you're talking about on a global scale. I had fond memories of my childhood and had a lot of great friends. All right, now let's go left to Michigan. I did work in Michigan, in Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Michigan, Monroe, Michigan. Monroe's kind of about a half hour from Detroit. And I don't know. There's definitely some rough areas in Detroit, but overall the places I went to were not that bad. Muskegon, Michigan, that's where Brunswick bowling balls are made. That's their claim to fame. And that's all I could think of for Michigan. I've been up to Windsor too and crossed the bridge from there over into Canada. All right, where else we got? I guess we go down to Iowa. Iowa is a big flat corn-filled nothingness, which I've drove the length of many times. So Omaha, Nebraska is right on the eastern tip of Nebraska. So leaving from Nebraska to drive to Ohio, you pretty much just start at the tip of, you cross right over into Iowa. It's like half the drive between Nebraska and Ohio is through Iowa, because it takes about 5.5 hours to drive across the whole state of Iowa. and there's really nothing to see. Bunch of corn. Des Moines is about the only sign of civilization during that drive. And then when you get, there's some other grand something city, but not too much to see in Iowa. Not a very impressive state. Then you go south of that, we got Missouri. I've spent time in Missouri. I worked in Lee's Summit, Missouri, which is outside of Kansas City, Missouri. They were one of the first cities to get Google Fiber. Fun fact. It made me very jealous. Now that we're getting Google Fiber here, that jealousy is finally starting to wear off. It was a very nice city. Kansas City is very nice. It's the first time I went to a cheesecake factory. It was in Kansas City, Missouri. All right, that's all my Missouri memories. And what we got? Arkansas. I've not spent pretty much any time in Arkansas. I know that's where Bill Clinton's from. Not a huge fan of the Clintons. And don't really have an opinion. There's not much going on in Arkansas. And we got Louisiana. New Orleans is awesome. Just went there last month. Lake Charles was nice. Quaint little casino town. Like New Orleans, the food there, Cajun food, it's also awesome. Delicious food. And the party scene there is pretty crazy. If you get down onto Bourbon Street, especially Mardi Gras. If you're young and dumb and like to party, go to Mardi Gras in February. One time in your life, especially if you're a fan of titties. Lots of titties. Which I am. I'm a big fan. I'm probably the #1 fan of titties. Might not know this. I am. Alright, let's cross on over to the other side. Alright, so it's New Orleans. Now we're getting over to Texas, which is where I currently am. I'm a pretty big fan of the state. I've been to all the major, well, most of the top 4 major cities. I've been to Dallas. I live in the Austin area. San Antonio. San Antonio was the first city that I visited in Texas. I worked a job at Randolph Air Force Base. We put a video system in the school there. They actually have a very nice school on the base where all the military families that live on the base send their kids. And I put the video system in there. Fun fact. And I think we did the network system there too. And that was like 1998 was the first time I visited Texas when I worked at that school. So that system might be actually replaced by now. That was a long time ago. And then I moved to Austin in 2007. So I've been here 17 plus years. And it's very nice. I've spent more time I've lived in Texas longer than I've lived in any other state, I think, by now. It's probably about tied right now with Ohio. So I moved out of Ohio when I was 17. I was 17 when I went to college in Tennessee, only for a month. I turned 18 like a month after I moved to Tennessee. So pretty close. It's almost a tie between Ohio and Texas at this point. But I'm a big fan of Texas. All right, then moving up, Oklahoma. I've spent some time, I went riding four-wheelers in Little Sahara, Oklahoma. So they got these big sand dunes. It looks like the Sahara Desert. The Little Sahara. Look that up, Google it. They got some pretty nice dunes. I actually have a video on my Jason MP78 video that I think says Little Sahara. You can get a little clip of some of the four-wheelers driving on the dunes there. Whew. And moving up from there, we got Kansas, which I spent time in Salina, Kansas for years. Not too happy about that. It's probably one of my least favorite places that I've lived. Because there's nothing there. It actually wasn't quite as bad as Nunde, New York. That was even more desolate than Salina, Kansas. But Salina, Kansas kind of sucked. And Kansas City, Kansas sucks compared to Kansas City. What the heck? Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri is way better than Kansas City, Kansas, which Kansas should be ashamed of. And Missouri's doing a better job of having a Kansas City than Kansas themselves. Shame on you, Kansas. And then moving up, we got Nebraska, which I lived in for 10 years. Omaha, Nebraska. And Omaha, Nebraska is just like a very big spread out suburb. Downtown area is nothing special. I got a little river walk down there, but the old market. But it's all just like old crap. Nothing special. All the cool stuff really is farther out west in Omaha. That's where the farther out west you go is like the more modern and nicer things are. So they built like a open air mall out on probably like 180th and Dodge. So cooler things happened out farther west. And I made a lot of friends in Omaha. It's a good state. Then going up, we got South Dakota, which I think their claim to fame is Mount Rushmore. Pretty sure it's in South Dakota. And I did do some work in South Dakota. I think it was Grand something. It wasn't Grand Rapids, was it? Might be Grand Rapids. I forget. Pretty sure it started with Grand. And then North Dakota, have no experience. I think North Dakota shouldn't exist. Really only needs to be one Dakota. There should just be Dakota. There's not enough going on in North and South Dakota to justify two states. I mean, you could justify 4 different states in Texas better than you could justify 2 Dakotas. I don't know how that happened. All right, then going west from there, we got Montana. I think I just drove through like the edge of Montana, maybe like on a train. Haven't spent any time there, but very beautiful, big skies. Yellowstone is based there. Yellowstone National Park. Pretty sure that's mostly in Montana. Wyoming, might go through both. I don't know. Is this a pop quiz? Shut up. Wyoming I went through on a train for sure. And it's got some pretty, I think, pretty landscapes. And then we got Colorado. I like Colorado a lot. I worked in Steamboat, Colorado. And I have a friend that lives in the Denver area. I went and took a tour of the Coors Brewery. I've been skiing all over Colorado, Vail, Aspen, Copper Mountain, all the hot ski spots. I've done them all. Colorado's awesome. It's at least in my top 5 favorite states. And then we got Utah. Not really spent time in. We got a lot of Mormons there. They have some pretty looking scenery. We got New Mexico. Not spent time in. Very desert landscape-ish. And then we got Arizona. I've been to Tempe, Phoenix. Very hot desert climate. And we got Nevada. Very fun state. Las Vegas, I've been there. Reno, been there. How many more states we got? We got California. I've been all the way down the coast of California on a train. It was beautiful. I spent time in Orange County, in Irvine, San Diego. Worked there for some jobs for a little while. And I went through San Francisco and Oakland on the train. Didn't really spend any time there. And then we got Oregon. I've not spent much time in at all. There's a lot of hipsters in Portland. Washington State. I've spent time in Seattle. It's very awesome. Went to PAX West there, the gaming conference. Walked all around Seattle. It was a fun time. Alaska. Never been to Alaska. I'd like to visit there someday. They have 6 months a day and 6 months a night. They got a lot of bears. And Alaska actually pays all its citizens to live there. They give them money based off of how much oil they sell. I think that's pretty cool. I wish Texas did that. And then Hawaii is awesome. I've been to Oahu and Maui. I would love to visit the other islands, but it is paradise. It's very expensive, but it's very beautiful. And I think I did every state. So that's it. Let me know if I missed any states. I think I got them all. But if I did, let me know. So thanks for hanging out with me. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All my links to my different channels are in the description, as well as links to all my social media. So check them out. And I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.